Sure, yeah.
We're ready.
Great. Yep. Welcome everyone. This is the second webinar of the 8-part series that we'll be doing. And let me introduce myself and the team here. My name is Banka. I'm one of the co-founders and Chief Operating Officer at the Silicon Partners, TSP. I'm a UiPath MVP along with my fellow MVP Rahul here. So personally, my experience is SAP and UiPath. So we'll be doing this second part series on BAPI, OData, RFC automations using UiPath on SAP. And with me, I have great team supporting here. Rahul Goyal, who is the Senior Director, ERP Systems at Elution and two-time UiPath MVP. And then Mohammad Faiz Khan, who is a Senior RP technical resource for the Silicon Partners and a two-time HyperHack and AI champion. So I welcome everyone on this webinar and will hand it over to Faiz to start the presentation.
Hi. Thank you everyone for joining this session. And we are back with very interesting session again. So my name is Mohammad Faiz Khan. I'm working as a senior technical consultant with the Silicon Partner. And like I said, I am the HyperHack the AI Summit champion. So moving to the next slide, Dino.
Yes,
Dino,
we just want to welcome you guys to the developer meetings that we're having. This is one of those where we talk about technology. And the America MVPs who are hosting this today with TSP are located in Latin America, USA, and Canada. We are lucky that we have Pankaj team that came and visited us from India today too. So thank you so much, Faiz, for joining us. And we just encourage you guys to put information in the chat so you can network with the MVPs, share your LinkedIn, so people can engage with you. If you have any questions, please let us know. We're really here to share what we know and also work with you on topics of interest that you'd like to know about in the future. And then if you have any other topics that you think of later and don't remember to put them in chat today, you can always reach out to me at diana.gray@uipath.com. And with that, I'll let you change the slide and move to the next topic. So today we are doing our second session as Pankaj indicated, and then we have two more sessions coming up next week and the following week. So we're looking forward to you joining those as well. I will be putting in the chat where our recording can be found tomorrow for this session, and then also where you can register for next session. Thank you.
So yeah, thank you, Dino. So yeah, thank you everyone once again. So today we are going to cover one of the interesting topic on SAP OData services. Like in the previous session, we have seen like we have automated the SAP GUI. So that is also the part of automation. The another automation like how we can automate the SAP without navigating the GUI application. So there we have another option that is called OData services or the RFC or the BAPI services. So we will cover each or everything in detail, but more focused on the OData services, and the demo will also on the OData services because BAPI is no longer supported by the UiPath Studio, and RFC is also like we need to create and we need to have some infrastructure in order to automate the SAP with the help of RFC. So in order to start the SAP API automation, so there are some prerequisite that is SAP access. Absolutely it is needed, and the OData endpoint and the credential. If you're automating RFC, then definitely it is required the credential as well. So we will also let you know like how you can integrate your SAP automation with UiPath, the low code no code application, so that you can have the interface in order to automate the SAP. And yeah, we will also cover the UiPath Studio development. Development is like how we have developed the process and how you can also develop the process. What are the prerequisites? How you can prepare the data in JSON format and the demo. And at the last, feel free, you can ask any question or you can put your question on team on chat so that at the end of the session, we will cover each and every queries and question. So you have seen like SAP GUI ECC or SAP Fury, the web application we can automate with the help of UiPath. There are some really your 2024 version, UiPath has removed the support for SAP BAPI applications, right? So the only two things are available currently we can automate, that is OData service, open data protocol. So by automating this OData services, you are required this RESTful API or endpoint and the credential in order to interact with the SAP applications. And for RFC, the remote function call, it is a communication protocol. It will also interact with the SAP system with the help of SOAP request. There we have RESTful APIs, or the another way it is SOAP APIs call, right? So we will cover.
Sorry to disturb. Are you sharing your screen? I'm not able to see that. So if you can share your screen again, the
Yeah,
presentation.
let me share again.
I think we were able to see the introduction slide there. Yeah, this one.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it is open, right? So moving ahead, testing OData endpoint with Postman. So maybe if you are the developer, if you are familiar with the Postman application, it is the application designed for API testing. So it is not specific for UiPath. You can test any API endpoint with the help of Postman application. So the UI or the layout will look like this. This is Postman application, which I locally installed my laptop. So yeah, I will cover it in details once I move into the Postman application. So there are a couple of things needed. You can create the collections, you can create multiple tabs in order to test any endpoints. There are a couple of things needed in order to start with Postman testing. That is authorization. It can be basic, auth 1, auth 2, or the header details are needed as well. Generating business partner with UiPath apps and SAP. So yeah, definitely we will cover when we move into the UiPath apps. You can see that this front end is designed in UiPath apps. So with the help of this application, we can create the business partner. The business partner is not limited to create one or two business partner. We can upload the bulk file. It can be 100 and 200. You can create the business partner with the help of OData request call at once. So it will ease or it will reduce your execution time by using the OData services. Generating purchase order with SAP RFC. So yeah, RFC is also another way you can automate your SAP. So yeah, there are some level of expertise are needed and infrastructure also needed. If you have good practice in your organization, the SAP practice, so you can reach out to your ABAP team or the basis team. They can design the function. They can change anything required in order to automate the like creating sales order or the purchase order. So they can help you to change the modules, or they can provide the endpoint in order to access the SAP. The another way, generating sales order with SAP BAPI, that is no longer supported currently because it is only supported on UiPath Studio Legacy, and Legacy is not the part of the Studio version 2024. So you can see SAP BAPI activities package enable RP developer to invoke SAP business application program interface, that is also called the BAPI. And the interface will look like this. First, you need to invoke the SAP scope, then you can invoke the SAP BAPI application. So yeah, I will share the link with you so that you can have some hands-on around it. So UiPath have the official documentation for SAP BAPI. Those who are using the UiPath 2023 Studio version, they can still use the BAPI applications if they have the BAPI front-end designing SAP applications. So yeah, so this way you can invoke the SAP application scope first, then you can invoke BAPI, BAPI activity, and there are some couple of BAPI connections are there. Choose your connection for creating purchase order or the sales order. We will cover it later. So yeah, that is all about like the SAP OData services or the BAPI. We will share these resources at the end of the session. Okay, let's move on to the Postman. So the Postman application, you can download it from Google and you can install it in your machine. And once you install, you can create any collections or you can create any tab. So you can see we are using the HTTP method here that is called get, and choose any method in as per your requirement. If you are trying to get any details from any application, it can be SAP, it can be any Windows applications. So you can choose any method from here and you have to provide the endpoint. So these are some prerequisite in order to create the business partner details. So you have to provide the endpoint, and endpoint will differ for different requests for, right? If you are creating or if you are trying to get the detail for business partners, so you have to provide the business partner details. If you are going to get detail for a purchase order or the stocking order, so you have to change it from here. Rest will be same, and these URL will be depends upon companies to companies. So this is especially designed for the DSP, and rest will for the business partner or the stocking order. So today we are going to create a business partner with the help of Postman. Then we will move into the studio to create the business partner. So business partner, we will use the studio to create 3 business partner at once. So for testing, so you have the endpoint, you have the credential. So, so you have put the credential here. There are a couple of header details are needed. So these are some pre-populated here. So the only things you have to put, that is called XCSRF token. So once you send this request, it will generate the token, and then you can use this token to create the business partner. And authorization, I have taken the screenshot. There we have the details. So in the authorization sections, you can choose the basic authentication and you can provide the username and password as a credential in order to get the response, right? So as I already have provided the credential and some parameters or headers details here, and I have the endpoint. So once I hit the send, so it will generate the token. So yeah, so you will see the status code that HTTP status code is 200 means it is okay. There is no error. Request successful. The servers has responded as required. So the only things you have to focus on is XCSRF token. So we need to copy this token and put it here. Yeah, you can replace the previous token with the current one. So yeah, so headers details are the only things are needed, that is XSRF token, and you need to provide some body details. So you have to create the business partner. So there are some required fields are needed, like the business partner category, the language you are going to choose, the search term, and the organization name. So let me change the organization name so that we can check these details in the SAP ECC as well. So currently we are passing this detail in order to create the business partner, right? So these are in JSON format. You can choose your format from here, but it is in my organization, it is accepting only the JSON format. So we are putting the input detail in JSON format. So we are just creating one business partner, but you can create as many as you want. You have to provide the JSON data. So the details is ready and the header details are ready. We also have provided the XCSRF token in order to authenticate the users. So now let's click on the send button. So if everything is good, there is no authentication issues are there, then you will receive the response, the HTTP response code that is 201. A new resource was created successfully. Let me, you will see uh, The business partner number is created with 21029. I will validate it when I move to the SAP ECC. So yeah, so we have tested the endpoint. It is working fine for creating one business partner. Now we can move into the UiPath Studio and what are the things are needed in order to start development. So I already have created flow to create the business partner. So we have one input file I will show you. And let's move on, like what are the packages are needed in order to start the development. The only two packages are needed. First is Web API. So because we are using the JSON JSON format in order to convert the Excel data into the JSON and also the HTTP request. So all comes into this Web API. System activities, all the system activities like downloading the data from bucket or log messages or any system activities. So we are using this packet for it. So let me open the input file. So I have added this file into the UiPath bucket so that bot will download the file first, then iterate through the each line item, then convert this data into the JSON format, then post this data into the SAP. So you can see, so we have these details and the data which is already filled as a data mandatory field. Okay. And the template. So I have created one template. So we are iterating through the Excel data and replacing these data. So we have added some placeholder here. So replacing this data with Excel data so that we can prepare the JSON format for entire rows. It can be 3, it can be 100 as well. So we are preparing the data first. So once the data template is ready, so we same way like you have seen, we have to create the CSRF token, then pass this token to create the business partner. So let me run this process. So it will create 3 business partners. So you will see it will generate the CSRF token. Then we will leverage this token for business partner creation. So downloading the file from buckets, the file is downloaded from buckets. So you will see the status code is 201 business partners created, then another, then. So for this demo, we are just using the 3 business partner creation, but with the help of OData services, you can create as many as you want. So let me open the flow. So here you will see, I already have shown you like how we are preparing the template and we are replacing the Excel data with the template placeholder. Then we are passing this data into the HTTP request and the endpoint. So we are using the method that is post and endpoint details and the token we already have provided. And there are a couple of things like we are doing around the string manipulation to prepare the report. So you will see the Postman, you see the studio, like how we can design the process. Let's move on to the UiPath apps, how you can integrate this with the help of UiPath apps, low code, no code application. Right. So you will see this is designing UiPath apps. So we have designing legacy application, but currently UiPath offer the VB apps. So VB apps means you can bring your VB experience and you can design application with the help of VB knowledge. Like if you have the VB.NET experience, you can bring your knowledge and convert into the UiPath front end. And UiPath apps also offer you can write a code for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. There is a dedicated control that is called HTML control. So you can design the front end with the help of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you are not very proficient to write HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code, so definitely you can leverage the large language model. It can be ChatGPT, it can be generative AI, UiPath generative AI models, right? So yeah, you can design HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code. So let's click on this SAP application button. So this is just a simple front end we have designed in order to automate the business partner creations. So you can choose the T code from here. We are choosing this T code from here that is like we need to download it. Let me log in it from. So let me stop sharing screen. Let me open the application again. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen again. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
We can keep going, please. Yep.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, so you can choose the template from here. Either you can download it by clicking on the download. We have the logic. We have uploaded the template in the UiPath bucket. You can download it from there, or you can upload if you are ready and you have downloaded the template and you fill it out, and now you are ready to upload it. So you can click on this upload button and upload. Like if you want to upload the data from Excel, so there we have three different options. You can upload the data from SharePoint, you can upload the data from S4HANA, or maybe upload from Excel. So I'm just going to choose the Excel format here. So yeah. So it will take some time to upload because it will run the process and bring the data into the UiPath apps. So you will see the process is running here. Yeah, so we can wait. It will upload the data. It will take some time to upload the data here. So once the data is uploaded, you can validate it. Like before posting it into the SAP, you can validate with the help of UiPath, or you don't want to validate, the UiPath itself can validate. Sorry, the SAP itself can validate. When you're posting the data, there are some required field or some numeric and alphanumeric fields. If you are posting in the wrong, if you are posting the wrong data, so SAP itself can validate it and return it response. So like I already have attached process which can bring this data and post into the SAP. So once I click on this create button, it will post this data into the SAP. So currently it is not, the functionality is not working due to some connection error. So, but yeah, you can call the process by clicking on this create button. So the button will get this data and post into the SAP, and in response, you will see the business partner is created. So this is all about the OData services. There we have another method that is called SAP RFC. So yeah, so SAP RFC, just I will highlight like what are the things are needed if you are going to automate the SAP with the help of request function call. So and what are the prerequisite, how the data format will look like, and how you can post this data into the SAP. So first thing you have to prepare the input format. So we have this SOAP request format. Let me zoom it. So yeah. So you can connect with your ABAP team or the basis team. They can provide this detail, like what are the module you are going to post into it, like, and these are some JSON detail we need to prepare. So this is the JSON tag. We need to provide the input data here. This is the placeholder I have created. So I will replace this placeholder with the actual JSON data. So actual JSON data will look like this. So these are some SAP field name, ecorg, PUKRG. So these are some SAP field name. This is also will provided by the ABAP team or the SAP team, so that you can prepare this JSON input format. You can replace this placeholder with this JSON data, and you can pass this data into the HTTP request body, so that it will create a stocking order or the purchase order for you. So let me move on studio. So yeah, first thing we are reading the SOAP template, then reading the JSON input data, then using the regex capabilities to replace the placeholder with JSON data. Then we are passing this JSON data into the HTTP. So first thing you are needed, that is endpoint. So you need to provide the endpoint first, and the method you are going to use it is post, because you are going to create the request. And the format you are posting, that is in XML format, and body you already have prepared like this. You have prepared the body format. So you can post it as a variable here, and the credential, right? So the username and password is also needed. So in order to authenticate the users. So once you hit and create, once you start the process, it will post the data, and in response you will get the XML format. And there in XML format you have the JSON tag, so that you can get the response in JSON format and convert it to the data table. So once all these things are ready, then you can send this response to the process owner or the SMEs, right? So the second method is request function call, and the third method is so third method is SAP BAPI activities, right? So UiPath built a SAP BAPI package for UiPath Studio Legacy, but it is no longer supported in the 2024. But yeah, you can go into this documentation. If you are currently using the legacy UiPath Studio Legacy, you can definitely automate SAP with the help of BAPI activities. So yeah. First thing, you need to invoke, or you need to drag and drop the SAP application scope. And in the previous session you already have seen there are a couple of things are needed before starting the application. That is the connection detail and the authentication detail. So connection detail, you have to provide the application server, the system number or the system ID or the SAP router details. And for authentication, you must provide the client details, the client number or the username and the password and the language. So once you have provided, you have to click on this test connection. If it is successful, there is no error, you will receive this notification, connection successful. And yeah, so once connection is established, then you can drag and drop the invoke SAP BAPI activity in SAP. And you can choose the module here. It can be create purchase order, it can be create a stocking order, and there are a couple of fields are needed. Let me scroll down. Yeah. So once you choose, like you are going to create the sales order, you can choose. So these details are already created by your SAP team, and these fields are needed. You can see all the mandatory fields are with asterisk. So you need to provide all these details in order to create the sales order in SAP. So yeah, we will share this document along with other document as well, so that you can go and check for the SAP RFC or data and the SAP BAPI activities. So yeah,
As one
that
of
is
the
all.
questions which we had, I don't know if you have any insight to that. I know we said very clearly that the BAPIs are only for the legacy thing, and I don't know, I haven't heard anything, but if you heard anything from your sources that is UiPath planning to bring back BAPIs in the Windows in the new Windows project, so that's yet to be known. And have you heard anything in your sources, Faz?
No, Rahul. So I'm not sure like UiPath is going to bring it back to the UiPath Studio 2024 version.
Yeah.
Those who are using the 2023 version, maybe they can provide the migration tool, any kind of migration tool to migrate the existing development into the latest one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, that's what I responded back in the chat, but I just wanted to check if you have heard anything differently that is coming up soon or something. But yeah, we haven't heard anything yet from UiPath as to if they're planning to bring it back in the 2024 release of Studio. So
But yeah, if you have any specific question regarding the electricity BAPI, we will definitely reach out to UiPath team to get the response and we'll respond back to you. So anyone have any questions?
Yeah, so we answered few questions on the chat, but Rahul, as a customer, right, as an MVP, would love to hear from you your experiences and just tell the group of how did you get started? I mean, what was the main driver and just your story with SAP and UiPath, right? So, I mean, love to hear, and the group would love to hear your experience as a customer and as a UiPath MVP.
yeah, no, definitely, Pankaj, thanks. Yeah, so I think like Faz also said that we as a customer are on-prem SAP customer for 2 decades already. We started using UiPath. It's been a couple of years. We were using it when we were on the legacy projects, and then we started slow in the sense that we did not start with the BAPIs. I think going back to the first session we had last week, so that's where we started to start picking up very low-hanging use cases, automating the traditional SAP GUI from the just to at least get started on how UiPath RPA can help us automate some of the processes which are currently not automated to the SAP platform, right? So we started with that, but then as we get more into the journey, we definitely picked up BAPIs a lot, and that changed the whole spectrum of how we were automating it before the BAPIs. Like we were traditionally going into field by field, transaction by transaction, screen by screen. It worked most part technically, but as you all know that SAP GUI, it could be fragile also in the sense that if you do any upgrades or if the screen changes, the automation could break. It depends how your selectors are and all. There are a lot of dependencies on those pieces to make it working, right? But with the BAPIs, that's the next level of change that brought into us, where we were able to push our automation, majority of the automation as unattended. That's the one big change. We saw that when we changed our design from going through the attended screen by screen automation, we tried that through unattended, but it always had some technical flaw because launching the SAP GUI on a remote machine and then clicking all the screens and everything was always a challenge. But then we switched to BAPIs. We worked with our SAP BAP team. They wrote some custom, like how Faz was showing, there was some standard BAPIs out there, but we end up creating some custom BAPIs as well. That changed a lot in how we were automating those SAP processes. And since then, bulk of our automation is now pushed to unattended and calling BAPIs regularly. We haven't switched to Windows yet because we don't want to lose the automation and the enhancements. We're doing it on those existing project. We continue to still run it as a legacy project. But at some point, yes, we'll be required to migrate them over to Windows because that's the direction UiPath is heading. But then that's where we look to switch into OData, RFCs, or some other design like what Faz just covered in today's session. But definitely, it was not a huge hurdle. We just have to work with the SAP team to make sure we have the right BAPIs created, make sure it has the right input parameters, the output parameters defined, and the right business cases identified. And then after that, it was more like a technical design to build it and then deployed it. So it definitely had helped a lot in our adoption of UiPath and also introducing automation to make it smoother from a day-to-day SAP perspective. So I highly recommend if you are already ahead in the game, already doing some SAP automations through the GUI transactions, try switching to, of course, BAPIs are not the option unless you want to keep doing the legacy way of doing things, but then that sometimes limits you as to what's there on the studio side. But start considering the OData, RFCs, and that's the right direction of doing things. So.
Great, Rahul. Thank you so much for your insights. So, any other questions? The recording will be posted, and so feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn or any other forum. We'll be happy to answer any questions. So, the next session is automating SAP success factors using UiPath. So, that's another great session that is coming up on October 10th. So, would love to have all of you join that and get most out of it.
Thank you, Pankaj. Thank you, team. And thank you for presenting today. This was really exciting. Are there any last minute questions or anybody want to unmute themselves to ask any questions? Just give you guys a minute. Okay, just make sure that you copy everything in the chat. The information on where you can find this recording tomorrow, as well as where you can register for next week's session is there. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Have a
Thanks,
nice day.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.